Good morning, good evening, good night. NFTLive. Everybody's in the chat. You already know what it is. We're bringing you the hottest NFT news from around the industry. We had a pretty good week in the NFT space. I know we've been covering a ton of stuff. We've been getting into the sales. You guys have been getting into some sales with us, but I want to get to Ronin. Sorry, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. How you doing? How you doing? It's been a pretty good week. Hope everybody's been having a good one. I feel like NFT world without like some big drop is kind of, you feel like there's not a lot going on, but then when you actually sit down and talk about it, you realize like there's a whole lot going on in the NFT world, and I feel like that's on the daily.
Yeah, 100%. I know we've been doing the COGs, which we're going to recap. We got Josie selling an NFT art piece and like multiple art pieces for 16K. We've got crypto voxel estate listings. We got a sand token airdrop. WhaleShark's over there doing some stuff. We got the F1 Delta game by Animoca Brands. They announced a REVV token that's going to be associated with their platform. Chibis and Axie. That's kind of the lineup that we got going here today, guys. So appreciate everybody that's popping into the chat. Looks like we got a ton of lads here I want to give a shout out to. We got Kieran. We got Brandon. Ernest is in the chat. Dimitri's in the chat. Scott's in the chat. We appreciate you guys showing up early as we get started here. Hopefully you guys are having a good Thursday.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We really appreciate that, man. So I'm like trying to think. There's just like we have got so much on our list, man. The Josie thing was huge. I think that that is big. I mean, that's a huge sale. 15 was like just over 15,000 or something.
Yeah, just over. I think one piece physically sold for like 16K. This was the halving piece that I've got pulled up here for you guys that are in the that see my screen, obviously. You can see that the halving piece is an NFT as well as, I guess, a physical painting. And then you had another NFT that was outside. I think 50% of the proceeds here went to Hal's like ALS Foundation, and then the other one was just a straight up NFT sale. Man, it killed it. So yeah, what'd you make of these sales here?
Dude, man. First of all, obviously they're big. I think like I've said before, like I think Josie's like just like really good for the space. Like I think she's a great artist. I think that she's got like just her hand, like her finger on the pulse, man. And I think that obviously like anytime you bring in numbers like this, it's huge. The pieces themselves are freaking badass, man. She definitely had some really, really good ones. Anybody who got into that Nifty Gateway drop is happy with the NFTs that they walked away with.
Have you gotten into any of these sales? You've been talking about Nifty Gateway. I feel like the last since I've met you, you've been talking about Nifty Gateway. Have you got into any at all?
Yeah, no. So so we talked about the fact that like that first week was actually the first time that I had tried, right? Like even getting into the Nifty Gateway thing. So so I guess it's actually kind of cool that like the first time I ever tried is kind of lines up with NFTLive and starting this whole thing. But no, I haven't gotten any, and they still have not implemented Ethereum purchasing back again. So until they do, like I'm not down to pay with fiat. So.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, let's touch on a couple more of these pieces. I know that they dropped at like 7 p.m. last night. So what did you? I mean, like 16K for an art piece. That's like, what do you make of it going forward?
I think that every single day that like you spend in this space, you realize that like it's more and more sort of solidified, right? Like we have use cases, like it's being like we're shown, right? And like when you consider the fact that like art is one of those things that's going to bring eyes, like there's specific things that are just going to bring mass adoption, right? And I think that art is definitely a good place. I think that what will come and what will like bring it to the next level is going to be like real world applicability, like we've talked about, like actually like having like displays and that type of thing become like affordable, and then that's just like the next step. But what I thought was kind of cool, I wanted to touch on real quick, is Scott. Okay, so Scott says he's already made $193 in sales, and that was only with 6 cogs.
Yeah,
that's pretty good, man. That's a pretty good turnaround.
Yeah, we're going to talk about COGs here in a second, guys. We'll touch on kind of what Ronin's doing with them, as well as what you guys are doing with COGs. I know we were part of the sale. I think we like for a week straight we were talking everything COGs, and I still kind of want to see what you guys are doing over there with that platform and where the roadmap looks like it's headed. So yeah, Scott, you did drop that into Lads as well. Congratulations on kind of the alpha on COGs there, man. So, dude, before we moved on to COGs, man, Did you have anything more as far as Nifty Gateway goes? Like what do you make of kind of the artists and what's going on within that platform? Because I'm uninitiated with when it comes to Nifty Gateway, but I want to get involved
Right.
more and more.
I think that their platform, I think like the way that they deliver like their content, right? Like by doing these big drops like once a week and then every once in a while, well, I guess last week was the first time they inserted like a Tuesday drop. But I think that they're getting so much demand from artists that they're probably going to implement that like at least once a month, if not more. But as a platform, man, they just got it together. Like it just feels like really like a good experience when you go onto like the website, like when you pull it up, like everything just makes sense. I do think that obviously they've got to figure out the actual buying process, and how can you bring it back to like where it needs to be, which is like allowing fiat as well as allowing for cryptocurrencies to be used. How do you do that? I don't know. I'm not, you're the guy for the back, you know, for the blockchain stuff. But I'm sure someone will figure it out. And when they do, I think that's just gonna to be better for everybody. Obviously, I think like what's big right now is like just trying to build mass adoption through NFTs. So obviously like you want them to be purchasable mainly through crypto. So I think that's where we're at. And I think Nifty is going to be big and it's going to continue to grow.
So if you saw Nifty say on like Wax, like would you be
Right.
saying that there would be no issues as far as crypto is concerned? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
No, I just think that in general, like we're in such like we're still in the infancy of this stuff, right? So like we're still trying to figure it out. Like companies are still trying to figure out like how like should I accept multiple currencies? Should I accept just one? Should I only go with fiat? You know, like once they get into that, like you know, like Wax is doing, like bring them on with fiat and then like try to get them to buy the currency after, right? So I think really it's more what I'm trying to say is we got to just keep trying,
Yeah.
right? Until we find the magic mix, until we figure out how to bring in crypto and bring in mass adoption. So I think that, but I do think that part of that equation is going to be giving everyone a fair chance at these sales. If they're going to continue to do sales that are like 200 or 300 prints when you've got 1,200 people trying to buy, right?
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
you
and for those of you that are getting into maybe Nifty Gateway for the first time, obviously niftygateway.com here. I'm kind of taking you through the platform. You've got the piece there with like the artists. I think they do these like Thursday drops. Like every Thursday they got this like new
every
artist
Thursday,
that comes in.
7 p.m. Eastern.
And you can see the bid history here, and you can see like it started, I believe, at 3,700. That was the first bid, and the chick that actually made the first bid knew Josie, and she ended up continuing to bid all the way up now to 7,100. And then we had also the Forward Together one that was initially bid. Yeah, this is the one that brought in some cake, some cheddar here. Started at 11K or 12K, and then got bid up to about $16,000, and you can just see that here. So yeah, super interesting. I also like the digiphysical stuff, the halving painting, where you can have the physical painting and the digital one. That's a cool feature.
It's very, very cool, man. She does like a lot of that stuff too. So
Yeah.
I think that like that's also a big thing, like having the NFT that represents like the, you know, a physical piece of property, whether that's art or like we've talked about clothing and things like that. Like I think that like just the use cases there, right? Like you can literally, I mean, you could take the physical piece, right, and like have it archived and stored like professionally, but you can still display it, right? Because you've got the NFT that's high definition. You just need a high definition, you know, display for it. But to me, that's kind of cool too. Like it almost gives you like the ability to have a backup of like a very like important piece of art.
Gotcha. Okay, guys. Well, we'll get more into Nifty Gateway as we go forward. I don't know much about from like a flipper's perspective. I know a lot of people are collectors. Obviously, if they're paying about 16,000, you got to think that they're trying to collect this for the long term.
I think those auctions are like 100% like way like those are just the big whales going for it. But if you really honestly like if you do want like an easy, quick turnaround, we're not giving financial advice, guys. However, I have found that you can pick up any Nifty Gateway piece that launches, any of the pieces that launches on Thursday nights, and by 7:30 they're going to be sold out, and then at 7:35 FOMO kicks in, right? Like so at that point you can sell it for sometimes twice as much depending on the artist. The bigger artists you can sell for 3 times as much 30 minutes after you buy it. So if that's your game, that's something you may want to be looking at as well.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I'll get to some of the comments here. Again, we got to Scott talking about cogs, and we'll make our way to cogs here now. Kieran's asking for all the NFT alpha. Dimitri's saying my haircut's the NFT alpha.
Yeah.
Like that's I
Ernest,
appreciate you Dima, like looking out for me there, man.
Ernest said he's looking for NFT info for teenage artists. Like, hang out here, man, and just like get involved in the community. Definitely check out Twitter. The community is 100% on Twitter, and they're it's busy all day long. It moves fast, man. And then just do your research. If you're trying to look into like putting your art out there, look, there's a million different platforms. They're all on different, currencies and that type of thing. Look into some that are low cost. If you're a teenager, Wax or Hive or something like that is probably better for you because you're not gonna have to pay to mint your art. And yeah, so that's a good place to start.
Gotcha. Okay, let's move into cogs. Obviously, we had that sale last week, so let's talk about what you guys are doing. I know we spent a ton of time, so we're not going to spend like an entire episode like we did that I think on Tuesday, I believe. But let's go just with a quick recap. What's on the roadmap? Let's talk about kind of your experience as the sale ended and where we are going from here.
Yeah, man. So for me personally, it's been a hell of a ride. I think that the Cogs team really has their heads on their shoulders. They've got a lot going on. They're super active within the community, and they have a lot of plans for Cogs, right? So like their roadmap wise, like this morning they told, they kind of just reaffirmed the fact that they do have plans for like DeFi mechanics. That would be along the lines of like, let's say you complete a superset, right? And what a superset is in the Cogs world is like you get every cog that has the same colored border, including your hammer and your Satoshi. So if you've got all of those, there may be some tournaments down the line that require, let's say, the entire console gray superset to enter, right? Obviously, there's only so many people who are going to have that complete set, being that we're in this right now. You know what I mean? And there's only so much of it. So what they're talking about is like the ability to group them together as a collection and then put them up on like a site, and then people can then rent them in essence, so they can have the ability to get into that tournament. Right. And then on the flip side, they have like the ability, they're talking about, if you do have a complete set, then that might allow you to stake it, and put it into like the system, lock it away, and then depending on how long you keep it, they could drop cogs for you as like payment, as staking payments. I don't even know how that really works that much, but yeah. So they've got a lot of stuff coming on, man. I think that right now we're going to see the typical week dip, you know what I mean? And until like news really comes out, you're not going to see like crazy movement as far as like prices are concerned. However, if you look, they went from like $40 to $60 overnight for the starter packs. And then the booster packs went from $10 to $20. Gotcha. So, and we're already like over 50% packs open. I mean, dude, people are into it. Like, and when you get into it, like we had more people in the morning chat this morning than we've had since it started 2 weeks ago. And you would think that it would be the opposite, right? Like a week and a half after these launches, people have moved on. They're not even talking about this stuff anymore. Like, I mean, Blockchain Heroes is doing a good job of keeping themselves relevant. They've got a weekly podcast and they do events and that type of thing. So they're really engaged. Cogs is along that line. Like they're really keeping people engaged. They're bringing people into the ecosystem. They want people to talk about it every day. They're including the community as part of that. So, the community is what defined a superset, right? Like he literally, like somebody was like, what, the guy who runs Waxplorer, Ben, he was like, what makes a set? Because I need to make sure that I'm grouping these things correctly on the site. And the CEO was like, that's a great question. What does the community think? And everybody started debating what we thought like should be a complete set. So they determined that, and he's now like put it on Waxplorer. So if you look at your stuff in Waxplorer, that's actually like how you want to group your sets. If you log in, I can like walk you through it real quick and you can just see, but if you want it, it's not a good.
It's going to use my Atomic wallet here?
Yeah, that's an Atomic wallet.
Okay, let's see if I can't bring it over. Yeah, I was looking at the Waxplorer guys there, the stats, which I'll bring back up after I sign in really quick.
And I'll read some chat real quick while you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Q does have a fresh cut, doesn't he? I'm a little jealous. So I said last night I wanted to get a fresh cut myself. Scott says we'll be able to lease out our cogs. Yes, that is kind of the idea. They're really, really trying to do as much as they can to reward people who are into their product right now. So 2 days ago, anybody who was in chat and who had been in chat and changed their profile avatar to a cog could message Benny, and they're sending all of us personalized t-shirts for being like in that like beginning group. So they're going to send us the cog that we chose, and it's going to have our screen names on the back. So that's kind of like they're keeping people engaged. They want people to like be rewarded for being like early adopters. So this is how they're going to do it. Like they're going to reward you for being one of the first ones out here and completing these sets, because it's not easy. And if you look at the prices, man, the prices like especially for the ultra rares and stuff are just going up. Like the commons are cheap. You can get a common for 9 cents. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, that kind of plays into the cog name too, right? Because it's like keys for other games is the initial
exactly.
aspect. So being able to use that physically as a key to like get access to another game because you have this certain cog, I think that was kind of the play on there. I've got Wax Explorer up here, so Ronin's gonna walk me through this real quick. But it is interesting to see this 60-day history. You see the actual spikes where the sales occurred. I think 714. Is that Tiger King? I think that's Tiger King.
Tiger
I'm
King
not
was
sure.
714.
Yeah, 730 is Shatner.
Yep.
What's this 808? That might have been
Blockchain Heroes.
Blockchain Heroes, and then you have this latest one here with the cog sale in 818, 819. So it's interesting to see that. You've got some stats here that you can go through as far as Wax is concerned. Most of this stuff's happening on Atomic Hub, it looks like. It looks also like cogs right now is the majority of the volume as far as all of these are concerned when you look at the 90-day volume as far as the different sales are concerned. So interesting stuff, man.
Yeah, for sure. Hit chat real quick. Kieran says he made back his numbers on the cogs with the lower, just the lower value ones, which is awesome because obviously that makes you back your money. Now he says he's sitting with his low mints and he's waiting. Smart move, man. Ernest says he loves leasing. Scott says, how many you got? He's got 210 cogs. Very nice, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so what chat? Discord, guys. Every morning on Discord, the Wax team lead, the founder, he hops on, Benny, at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and they hang out with us for an hour. They do giveaways. This morning, this guy came on. He had only bought one booster pack, but he was like so into it. So he like, he heard through Telegram that they were doing the chat. So he got on, he was hanging out, and somebody was like, oh, hey, like this is a new guy. Like he just bought his first thing. So Benny gave him like a booster pack.
Very cool.
Or I'm sorry, one of the community gave him a booster pack, and then Benny gave him a starter pack. Like the founder was like, hey, if this is your first, that's $60 worth of cards, right? He was just like, here, bud, like you're new to the community. So they're doing a lot of stuff. It's 9 a.m. Eastern. It's in the Discord. I'll drop the Discord link in chat for you lads. But he was like, oh.
Interesting. Yeah, I want to give another shout out to Amos, I believe. So Amos was in the chat. If you guys are participating like along with a lot of our content, we'll do giveaways when it comes to these sales. One of the giveaway winners was Amos last week when we did this cog sale. We got him his starter pack and he opened a Mint 1 foil, I believe. It was a Mint 1 Executioner foil, like 1 of 1. I don't know if that's 1 of 2 or 1 of 3 yet, but that was amazing to see Amos pull that on one pack, man. That was really cool.
Yeah. Yep, and it was actually I'm pretty sure it was a booster pack too. It wasn't even a starter. So
he
only had one slot in that entire pack to be able to pull something that rare, and he hit it, dude. That's awesome. That's so cool. And that's like what you see. Like I pulled, thankfully, my very last starter pack that I was willing to buy. I don't know if I told you this or not, but I pulled a 4 of 4 foil ultra rare Satoshi Slammer. And like the cheapest one out there, I think, is listed up for like $1,200 or something. Jeez. I don't think anybody's bought like one for that high yet, but like there's nothing below that. You know what I mean? So if somebody wants, and then once people find out like you'll need that slammer for something, like prices are going to go through the roof.
Yeah, you're taking a definitely long-term play on cogs, which I'm excited to like look at as far as the gaming is concerned. We'll see more as we go forward. We don't want to spend too much time on cogs. I got a lot of guys in the chat took part in that, and we see kind of the results, and we appreciated you guys kind of taking part in that sale with us. Hopefully it kind of worked out for you from a financial standpoint. Also kind of just getting some excitement. I know that was the sale day is always interesting. So definitely want to move on here. I have one quick piece of news as far as Crypto Voxels is concerned when we talk about like metaverses, but we have Crypto Voxels, Somnium, and Sandbox. So Sandbox, if you guys own any land, what you see in your MetaMask or what you see in your Ethereum wallet now is that you actually got dropped sand. I believe
I was wondering what that was. I
I'm
haven't even
breaking.
logged in to check it yet. I saw it this morning. I was like, dude, I've got like I've never gotten a notification in my MetaMask, so I didn't know what that meant. I just thought it was because it like wanted me to sign back in. I'm signing in.
Awesome. Well, I'm breaking news here on NFT Live for Ronin, one of the hosts of NFT Live. So basically, yeah, if you own land, one of the things that they want to do is have some utility, almost like owning cogs. What you just talked about gets you access. Well, owning land and being a early adopter of land and being a landowner is getting you now sand token. So obviously the sand token's been listed majorly. It's being traded on Binance. We did see a pop. I think it found a floor, and let me make sure I go in here and don't say anything dumb, but it found a floor around $25 million market cap. I believe that's like 5 cents. So I've got CoinGecko pulled up here. On the 7-day, it looked like, and I'll pull it in 14-day. So it shot out the gates, obviously, when it was on Binance. I think it got up to like 10x the actual ICO. It went up to like 77 cents, 7.5 cents. It from that point, it had a little bounce, but basically it's been like trying to, as Dimitri always said, like price discovery, right? And it found a floor around like 4 cents, like low fours, and it's since kind of climbed over that time period. Definitely within the last 24 hours, it's picked up a lot, because I know even, I believe on like Tuesday, it was like trading around a little bit under 5 cents. So good to see. And obviously being a land holder, you got your little fair share of sand tokens there, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to like figure it out. Like I don't even, like I said, I've never had that happen, so I don't know exactly how it works. I'm
In
trying to
what
see like
sense?
in like how do I identify, like, so I had the notifications in my MetaMask, like how do I identify what I just received? Because like if I actually look at my wallet, I don't see any transactions.
So if you type into your MetaMask or open your MetaMask, you can go to a tool where it actually breaks you out to Etherscan. I don't know if you've ever been on
Yep.
Etherscan, but if you go on Etherscan, you can break that down into ERC20 tokens, and you can see. I believe it was like $60 for me. I don't know. I have two land estates, so I don't know what the actual ratio was. But I know a lot of people were saying they got $60 worth of sand at the time, which I'm sure is a little bit more now. But that, I don't know the actual ratio. If you guys are out there and know it, yeah, drop it in the chat. But it's just cool to see Sandbox kind of saying, hey, for those of you that are early adopters and are landowners, here's a little bit of a little bag for you to
Yeah,
get you
yeah.
started.
I guess I was not lucky enough to get that.
Oh, really? It didn't drop to you?
No, I didn't get anything.
Huh.
I didn't get anything in mine. It's all good. Anyway, so yeah, I think that, dude, I think what they're doing is really cool. Like having the opportunity to hop on the pod or the panel last week with Sebastian from Sand was really cool. That was like really my first time really digging in deep to like what Sand is going to be doing beyond the fact that like I was buying land and I wanted like a piece of land there. So that was really cool. I think that like they've got a lot of stuff coming, man. I saw some really cool footage from like their alpha builds and stuff. People like creating and playing with the create a game, and that looks really cool. Like I saw a dude who created one where it's like he was hunting like guys in like a dungeon, and so a lot of cool stuff.
Before we move on to CryptoVoxes, don't you have that alpha access? Did you ever get in? If you're not going to use it, send it over here, man. Come on.
Yeah,
Man.
I did, man. I did. I logged in last I don't know, I guess that night last Thursday. So and I played with it a little bit. It's really cool. Like I'm not like a super hardcore like artist, but like I got in just because I wanted to see like what the mechanics are looking like. And there's so much there, dude. There's so much to unpack. But like I watched a guy stream who does streaming for Sand, and then he streams like while he's programming stuff, in the editor or whatever. So I watched him do that last night, and I was like, okay, I got some ideas. So I'm gonna play around with it.
Nice, man. Nice. All right, before we get to Somnium Space and the news you got there, just a really quick update. It looks like CryptoVoxels, and I'll show the tweet now. It looks like they're still listing on new areas, right? So like part of CryptoVoxels' goal here, or at least the team's goal, is to continuously release different areas, just like Sandbox does, to kind of build out the metaverse. So it looks like there is some sales. It looks like Tokyo, Neutron, and Proton areas got new estates, and I can pull that up on CryptoVoxels here. You can actually go into cryptovoxels.com. Some of these are obviously going to be sold on the secondary marketplaces too. Like most CryptoVoxel sales are not happening from team to actual user or investor. It's always it's pretty much happening peer to peer. So you can go on OpenSea, kind of go see what's for sale essentially. So, but there is an opportunity to get in on these, like what you would probably call pre-sales, where you can buy these lands, and they're here for purchase. So if you guys want to get into it, looks like the towers on these islands are for sale. So that's nothing huge, but wanted to get that news over. Looks like CryptoVox is still building out.
Yeah, very cool, man. Very cool. And I think that the metaverses are just going to continue to like blow our minds, man. I hopped in the chat that they had going on Discord yesterday. DCL blogger Matt and his buddy Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually had I forgot his name, the guy who is the lead for Sombian Space on. And dude, he blew my mind. This guy is like in the middle of talking to them, and he's like, here, let me show you. And so he pulls out his VR headset, and like he's in chat like with him on Discord, and then all of a sudden he switches to being in VR, and like he hops in VR, and he's got like a handheld camera in VR, and he holds it in front of him, and it's his avatar, right? And we can see him. So he's streaming from VR, and then he like turns around, and behind him he's got the Zoom panel up, so he can watch the stream of like the Discord in the background. And then as he's doing that, he pulls up a digital or virtual screen in front of him, and then he logs into CryptoVoxels and clicks the monitor, and then he starts moving around in CryptoVoxels. So it's like Inception, man. And this stuff's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. One of the things he did mention is that Somnium Space will also have a land sale, and that'll probably be in October. He did say that the way they're doing it is more like in-world narrative. So he said that like anything that they do as far as land is concerned is going to be, there's going to be a reason for it to happen the way it does, is the way he put it. So I don't know, an island will pop up out of the ocean or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is probably the coolest thing that I've seen happen from like a gaming perspective. Dimitri's probably still here, and he's a big Call of Duty player. This happens in Fortnite. It's happening more. WoW does this all the time, where there's like an in-world event that's leading to like an in-world virtual event that's leading to like something from the outside, right? So like there's an expansion. So for example, Call of Duty just had this Cold War expansion, and they're doing this in-world event where like something new is happening, and that actually we're at like in-world as that character, you can experience this change, as opposed to it just being like, hey, you know, this new expansion came out, buy the new expansion, and now you get to play it. It's actually like, no, you're a character that's moving from one of these like in-world futures to the next expansion, which is like the coolest thing.
It really is.
I think it's like one of the biggest things in gaming right now. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. I definitely think that like what Fortnite did, like just absolutely changed the landscape of multiplayer games. I mean, regardless of whether or not you're a fan of the game itself, I mean, you can't deny like they totally changed gaming, right? And I think for the better, honestly. Like I think that a lot of people, a lot of companies took note. A lot of companies are doing more for their consumers. They're making their products more worthwhile. You know, I think that you can't get any better than an in-world live event like that. I mean, I got to jump in for one of the concerts they did, and then I got to take part in the first like live event that they did. And those were really cool experiences as like a gamer, because everybody just stops fighting, and you can still fight, you know what I mean? Like, but everybody just stopped fighting, and all of a sudden everybody's watching like this event happen. And it was really cool experiences, and I'd love to see more of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think Fortnite has been pioneering it. I'm not a Fortnite player myself, but I've seen videos where like when there is an update to the game, you're actually playing the game and you're doing that event, and then like maybe like a comet comes down and like blows the map up, and now you're just like living that experience. Really cool stuff, man. I cannot wait. One discussion I wanted to get into with you before we move on with CryptoVoxels and doing these sales, and let's say Sandbox and things like that. I want to get your perspective from maybe the outside as well, and you guys in the chat can participate as well. Is like when you're already a landowner, and there's other macro economic plays here as far as real estate's concerned that can play out in the real world. But if you're an investor that already has a piece of land, do you want to see Ben and the team kind of continuously roll out these islands where they're selling more, like creating more and more real estate? It seems like you almost want him to be focused on the world that's actually created and making that better, as opposed to kind of diluting the land that you already own.
Yeah. I think that I don't know what the best like comparison would be, but I think that it's almost necessary to keep things feasible. And I also think that it's necessary for someone like the Crypto Voxels. I don't remember that gentleman's name, but the guy who runs Crypto Voxels, I think he's kind of doing that like all on his own, right? So for him to spin up some more parcels and sell some more land, I'm sure part of that is, you know, just needing a little bit of boost of income, right? Like he's probably needs some more money for his development, and that's fine. I do think that it needs to be controlled. I do think that it needs to be understood if there is a maximum, you know, amount, or if there will never be a maximum amount, right? Like, so Sami and Space puts it out there that they can build out their world infinitely, right? But then you've got Crypto Voxels that can also add. But then you have Decentraland, which I believe only has this, like a finite amount of land maximum that they will ever have. I don't think that they've put out that many plots of land yet, but I'm pretty sure if you look up like the stats, they can only produce so many pieces of land. So as long as you're upfront about that situation, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think it helps. You know, I think that like right now, like if you look for a piece of land in Decentraland, it's so expensive. It's almost unrealistic. Now, if they added, you know, another 200 parcels, then some of those prices may come down. Then, you know, you get new landowners, you get more people in the economy, that kind of thing, or you just get the whales buying it all up and flipping it.
Yeah, there's still something to be talked about as far as like the whale community within NFTs. Well, I've got Crypto Voxels pulled up here, guys. So these islands did not exist, I would say, like 3 or 4 months ago. So just giving you kind of a look at what Ben has been creating. He's been like kind of creating these like islands with different towers on them, and then he's just like selling pieces there. So definitely an interesting concept. I mean, there's people on both sides of the debate likely. So yeah, so,
for sure.
Yeah, man. So we'll move on to the next topic. This is going to be, I believe, the whale NFT mining event. So WhaleShark, everybody knows WhaleShark. WhaleShark is the man. He's been doing a lot of things within NFTs. I think it's a net positive that he's a part of the community, but basically what he's done is integrated his whale token, which is this personal and community token type concept, into an NFT liquidity mining situation. So basically and I don't mean to go down the DeFi rabbit hole, but basically he's getting artists to sell art on like within his community or even outside of it, or even outside of his community, but they're only available in whale tokens. So the idea here is getting the community to kind of transact in whale as a form of currency. So I have the process here. An NFT creator is going to design the NFT. It looks like the first edition is going to be donated to the actual whale token vault or whale vault. But the subsequent series is going to be like put up for sale, and likely I think it's saying the NFTs will prominently displayed in House of Gallery. We've kind of visited WhaleShark's gallery there in Crypto Voxels. He has a really cool state, but just all these different types of features that go along with the whale community. He's basically taking NFT artists and just saying, hey, come over here, sell your tokens, and I think he's actually giving them cash too. It looks like effective immediately, we'll be establishing a whale NFT mining reward pot of 2,000 whale. At the time, it was 5,000 USD per month that will be distributed among 10 whale creators who create NFTs that are exclusively for sale for whale. So, what do you think, man?
Pretty smart. Pretty smart. You know what I mean? Like I think that if anything, we can identify one thing about WhaleShark, which is that he's very good with money, right? So like, I mean, he's got good business sense. And I think that he's probably had this road mapped for a while. You know, I know that when he was doing like the vault thing, like he was reaching out to artists and asking them to basically donate like one-of-ones and things like that, like pieces that from big artists that would obviously just be donated to his vault. And and why would anybody think that they could go to these artists and just say, hey, will you give me a piece of your art that I can throw in a vault so it gives my currency money? Well, because he spent a lot of money on these people. So I think WhaleShark is a long con type of guy. Yeah. I think he's been laying down the you know, like the bricks, and now he's showing everybody like what the plan is. So it's smart. I think that if you have like any interest in it, definitely if you're interested in like social, like, you know, currency, that's the one to be involved in. What about lads? Come on, guys, we got to show lads on the channel. And lads, yeah. Hey, nobody knows what's planned for lads, right? So
yeah, we released.
It's a good time to mine it.
Yeah, we've released some information. Definitely, it's been used as rewards for people kind of interacting with the community. But we will actually roll out features like this. I could see us using NFTLive to get in touch with NFT creators, and then they're selling specific art only available to those with LADs, or even only available to those who have a certain amount of LADs. There's a ton of different things you could do with social currency that we'll be doing with LADs, but this is a really cool event. We have some questions here. Kieran's asking what whale is basically, and WhaleShark's obviously a big personality within the NFT industry, so he just has a social token that goes along with it. A ton of different we don't have time to break down the mechanics of whale, but we definitely will keep an eye out and maybe introduce some of the features that he's doing within his community we could do with LADs 100%. So sir, what is the LADs ERC20 address? We may be able to get you that, Kieran. We'll talk post episode. Maybe we can make that available to the LADs community. But there is definitely a address there that you can take a look at. Scott's saying, I'm trying to get my 1,000 LADs. Yes, sir. You can get access to our Discord if you have 1,000 LADs. Anybody that hasn't created an account, please do so. It's tryroll.com. Send a user or send your username that you create to an admin in our Telegram channel, and you can start earning LADs. And we will give updates, pretty much weekly at this point, as far as what the utility is and how to earn it. So that's pretty much it for the NFT mining stuff. We've got this F1 Delta Rev token that I want to touch on really quick. I don't know if this game is live yet, but basically Animoca Brands, one of the, not founders, but one of the main investors in Sandbox, they have this F1 Delta Time game, which is basically going to be a Formula One series game, racing game on using blockchain and using cryptocurrency. One of which is going to be this Rev token. A really cool thing that I want to get your thoughts on here, Ronin, is there's going to be the ability for Rev token to be rewards for racing. So say you set the best time on the track, and there's going to be multiple different tracks. These tracks are actually going to be associated with an NFT that will be for sale by individuals, and you could buy it. The one really cool thing is that if you own the track and someone's racing on it, you actually get rewards based on them racing on your track. What do you think? What do you make of that? That really hit me as being something that is super cool.
Dude, I think it's just one of those things that we're just going to continue to see these projects come up with really creative ways of not only making themselves money, but making their users money, right? Because that's that is the I think free to play is what we're getting out of, and now we're getting into play to earn, right? So I think that it just makes sense, man. And this is another one where it's damn it, Richard. Why did I not jump in? I got into alpha. I had the ability to hop in there and buy up because I'm an F1 fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so this is a really cool project. I think that they've got it's crazy though, because you realize, I think they did their first sale 2 years ago for the first NFTs through Delta.
Yep.
So, it's been a while.
Yeah.
This project didn't, it takes time to build out this technology for sure.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I do remember the story, and they put it out here. It says some of the very rare vehicles have sold for $16,000 through an auction, and I do remember those stories. There was basically car collectibles that were selling for a ton, and that happens to be associated with this game. So yeah, we'll be watching for when F1 Delta Time comes out. Obviously, rolling out this Rev token, we'll see when they do that sale, or if they're planning on doing a certain sale for the community, or if it's just going to be earned as part of using the game. So yeah, definitely. We got some questions coming through. Guys are looking to how to get their LADs. They're asking how many LADs. Kieran's trying to get a head count here on how many people, on how many LADs everyone owns. Ernest is saying, what's the best entry-level hardware for creating digital art to be turned into NFTs? I'm throwing this to you. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry, my daughter was crying in the background. I'm trying to think about how best to answer that. I think that what's cool about art is you can get in as cheap as you want. So if you've got a computer that can run Photoshop, for instance, you can go and get a tablet for $25 that you can do digital art with, right? Or you could go and spend $1,000 on an iPad and then spend another $100 on an iPen or whatever. So entry level, I would say, is whatever you can afford personally. I don't think you need a lot. I think just get out there and create.
100%. Okay, well, I think Kieran's also answering that question there. He says, yep, Open Zeppelin ERC20 code verbatim with a little bit extra for the constructor function. So that looks like a lot of the back end stuff that you need to do. I know Wax is working on this too. Like that, people are working on like out of the box tools where people can just create their own kind of NFT token.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and if you want to tokenize it, then check out atomichub.io, which I'll put in here for you. That is, you can get on, you can mint for free, and then sell your stuff through Wax, through the currency of Wax on Atomic Hub.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday when we were doing kind of like our production meeting, but apparently during some of the sales here, GPK specifically, people were kind of like screenshotting or doing whatever, creating fake GPK cards, selling it on Atomic Hub because they were able to mint it on Atomic Hub before the sale even
Simple
went live.
Market. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Simple Market. Yeah. It's growing. It's a growing space. So like that first one, there definitely was like counterfeit like situation. So if you go to like Simple Market, Atomic Hub, any of those, now you'll see like there are authorized accounts, and those authorized accounts are the ones that you're going to want to make sure are the ones producing the NFTs that you're looking for, because it's out there, and they're trying to do the best that they can, but they can't combat every which way because people are creative, right? So just whenever you're dealing with NFTs, whenever you're dealing with secondary market, make sure you're double checking the authors, make sure you're getting it from like, a verified account. And if you're buying it from someone personally, make sure that the NFT itself has the verified account attached to it.
Got it. Okay. All right, guys, we'll finish up here with Chibi's, Axie, and I'm going to finish up again with ChainMonsters, which we haven't touched on yet. So these are basically just like other games rolling out. Obviously, Axie is one of the biggest within the Ethereum ecosystem, and they're planning on building their own chain. But we've got Chibi's as well, just more kind of NFT-focused games that we'll kind of touch on really quick.
Right. Yep. So for like Chibi's, right? Like Chibi's Global is the way that I explain it is like if you're into like those free to play games on your phone where like you're popping like heroes and you're collecting heroes and you get like a 3-star and you have to like collect 10 more to make a 4-star and you level them up that way. That's kind of the idea of Chibi's, I feel. And what I really like about it, because this just caught my eye, is they had kind of their second pre-sale, if you will. So the way that they're kind of funding it is they're putting out alpha characters, right? Like, so you can buy the chibi, and you can then use that chibi in the gameplay later. But what you're doing now is you're basically investing, you're helping them kind of build the game. You can buy a chibi. That chibi comes with lifetime airdrops, right? So like the first one they put out, which was called Alpha, he gets all types of goodies. Some of those goodies sell for $400 and $500 themselves. The actual Alpha itself is worth, I think, like $1,000 or something like that. So they've got a lot of stuff going on there pre-sale. The idea is to eventually get to a point of having a complete, full, fleshed out game where you have, your town, you've got your chibis that are your army per se. Then you've got the ability to, do like your teams and stuff in the back, and then PvP eventually. So they've got a really nice, clear, concise roadmap. And I think that it's a really cool project. And I think that if you guys are interested in the gamification of NFTs, then they're one that you should definitely check out. I bought my first one. His name's Tao. And I got my first airdrop this morning. It was a 2 of 10. Which is really dope. So I'm really looking forward to see like what that can bring eventually. So I do know that some people are really getting some real banger items that are selling for a lot on the secondary market.
And this secondary market's Atomic Hub, correct?
Yep. Yeah. Okay, most of the stuff going down on Wax now is happening on Atomic Hub. Essentially what happened is Atomic Hub created their own contract, and Wax, pretty much all Wax projects upgraded from the simple contract to the Atomic assets. So they kind of hold the keys to all the Wax stuff happening right now at the moment. Yeah. So, and for anybody is interested in that type of back, history and information, the issue that we all ran into, like with Shatner and with Cogs, where you open a pack and it doesn't open all the way, is actually like a pack opening problem. It's the pack opening process is broken up into 2 different contract signatures that you need to like actually get them to open. And what was happening is like the first one was not communicating correctly to the second one, so you wouldn't get the second pop-up, so you could never actually accept your cogs, right? But Atomic Hub is working on that. So hopefully by the next drop, you'll buy your packs and open your packs on Atomic Hub.
Got it. Okay, sounds good. So we've got Axie, and we also have ChainMonsters here to kind of finish up the episode. Obviously, Wax has been killing it. We'll keep you guys up to date on all the sales that are going on there and all the games that are coming out. Can't wait for like more of these games to actually drop. I think we're right on the precipice of having like like a ChainMonsters or like what we're talking about here with Chibi's. Like we're gonna have things actually like go in world and start to do with these NFTs. Maybe start play to earn within these different ecosystems. It just doesn't exist yet. We've had collectibles, kind of like in the same situation we have with F1 Delta. Like the collectibles exist, the game doesn't. So, but that will shortly change, and we're kind of on the precipice here.
Right. Yep. And Kieran is just clarifying that the Atomic Assets contract does have a marketplace built into it, which is correct. So like anytime you put something for sale, it doesn't matter what website you're listing it on, it's seen across all of the marketplaces that are selling Atomic Assets. And if you purchase it from one website is all that really like matters. You know what I mean? So if you've got one that you like, if you got one that you really enjoy, like then you can use that and support them by constantly like buying your assets through that marketplace. Like some people really like Wax Explorer. I really like Wax Explorer. I think that guy, like he's doing great work, Ben is, and he's updating it every single day. He's in the team meetings, finding out like what we want. So when I buy my assets, I'm going to start buying them through Wax Explorer. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay, well, let's move on. We've got a small little family, or maybe like a whole town kind of getting involved in like a play to earn concept.
This is I'm calling it the feel good story of the week.
Nice.
This is really cool, man. So CoinDesk came out with this article yesterday, and it was about this small Filipino town that was severely affected by COVID. And the town was essentially dealing with some serious economy issues. And one gentleman right there on the top left got into Axie Infinity, and he started telling people in the town about Axie Infinity. And now they've got almost the entire freaking town is playing Axie Infinity, and they're all making money. And it's helping them to survive during this crisis, which is absolutely amazing. And I like being in the crypto space, the NFT space specifically, and being like involved in it, especially like on Twitter, like seeing the conversation throughout the days and stuff. Like there's a lot of these really like real stories of people finding NFTs and this technology and applying it one way or another to help during this time where a lot of people are having problems with finances and you know what I mean, like just finding income or being laid off, that kind of thing. So another place where like NFTs are changing lives.
Yeah, I'm interested in the mechanic of them actually using, because I'm guessing you're earning ETH, right? Like if you're playing Axie, you can earn ETH through kind of like upgrading your characters and then kind of like selling different items that you make by battling.
I think they have, it's kind of like a, they have like a token, like most mobile games, like they have their own like in-game currency.
The SLP token.
Yeah, so like you earn that, and then like eventually you can then turn that around and like export it into ETH.
Export into ETH, but my question then would be like, who is on the ground actually? Because they're talking about in this article, like, okay, they're able to like supply food for their families and all these things. Like, what vendor is accepting ETH on the ground? Because that's something that we get into on Layer 1 Live all the time. Is like crypto kind of was made in this fashion, and blockchain was made in this fashion to kind of bank the unbanked in a sense, but you need all of the infrastructure on the ground. So it doesn't matter if you have a millionaire who's like was in this town, if nobody that is going to give him the objects that he needs or the assets that he needs because they don't accept ETH, you need to have that infrastructure set up. So I wonder does it break that down in this article?
I don't think it mentioned it, honestly. I think like you're right at that point where on the screen, which starts talking about the actual numbers. I've got it pulled up too.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, we would have to do a little bit more research, but there needs to be some type of OTC process, because I'm sure there would just be somebody that's supplying people food that's saying, I will take your SLP, or I will take your ETH, and that will be good for a form of payment. But that's awesome to see if that is the case. You just see crypto used more on the ground.
If I remember correctly, I think I remember reading that what he did was he like onboarded people himself. So like if somebody wanted to get into the game, like he helped them get like the ETH that they needed, like so they paid him and he used a marketplace. So maybe he just kind of taught his town how to like then turn that back into, the Filipino currency.
Yeah, but you need somebody on the ground that's going to do that. Like that's the whole point of kind of stablecoin adoption and crypto adoption on the ground in these things is people like the actual like marketplaces or the people that are supplying all these things, they need to accept it. So it's not enough for this one guy to say, hey, I will supply you if you send me Filipino dollar. It's more that like the stores on the ground essentially need to be able to accept this and say, I will give you a mango for 100 SLP. Because that one, yeah.
Yeah. From the way I understand it, I don't think I think that they're like, bringing in the money and then maybe like once a week cashing it out through a marketplace, like into their native currency.
There must be some type of,
see, like I wouldn't imagine that. I'm almost positive, like it mentioned something in here where like they saw like, an exchange or something that ended up seeing a growth from it.
There must be some type of off ramp in the Filipino currency there. So and then the only other thing I'll put on that, which is a good point to make, I believe, when you're talking about people who are making a little amount of income, Axie's on Ethereum. Like people like that are doing things like this are going to get priced out. Like because they're talking about making $10 a week. It's like that half of that shit goes to your half of that shit's going to the Ethereum blockchain, man. That might as well be like a Western Union type situation. So definitely that's something to keep an eye on, man. We've got some comments here. DJ's in the chat saying, hey lads, I think Ernest and Kieran are talking about kind of the I guess process of creating an NFT through maybe an iPad. Ernest is saying we're doing a great job. We appreciate you, Ernest. Thank you so much for stopping by. Gunny's talking about wax. That's pretty. You want to read that wax comment? That's a money one.
Yeah. It's where is it? Okay. Gunny said wax is dope. I was extremely over leveraged in Chinese coins and wanted to branch out. Glad I started pouring in the wax. Yeah, that's a pretty good move. I think it's just weird. Like I'm so new to like this stuff. Like I don't understand why. I guess it's just because it's not widely available wax. Like why it doesn't see any growth from these massive sales.
Yeah, I mean, there's a token mechanic involved there, right? Like, what is? Yeah. I guess if people are able to buy it with credit card, why even have wax to begin with? But there's some sales that are offering.
They've now. Yeah, I think they've stopped like doing straight fiat.
Yeah.
Cogs didn't, blockchain didn't. I don't expect whatever comes next is going to.
Yeah.
I think like it's all going to be wax moving forward. I think maybe they saw that and they saw that their token wasn't really moving. Mm-hmm. It's going the opposite direction. It's going down.
Wax is hard to get too. Like if you're
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what somebody else had mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're trying to get wax as like an uninitiated crypto person or non-crypto person, you're not getting it. So this whole idea that like we can sell in wax and that will appreciate the price. It's like, well, that's literally a non-starter for somebody who's trying to get in. So
yeah, they really need to figure it out. I don't know, like they got to get it on something bigger than where it's at right now.
I agree with that. All right, guys, we got one last story real quick before we kind of like dive in and just like kind of riff before we end the episode here. We've got ChainMonsters. So ChainMonsters is going to be an interesting story because they're looking to move to flow. So obviously you see the kind of artwork here. It's in that Pokemon fashion where you kind of like, I'm assuming in like an RPG fashion, and this is now available on Steam, but we'll get to that in a second. But in an RPG fashion, you can kind of go around, you have this character, and you get more, I guess, I don't know exactly how you capture it. It's definitely something we're going to look into and actually play, maybe even on like a NFTLive Twitch situation. But basically in that same fashion of Pokemon, you're collecting these different assets, or you're collecting these different animals, and basically you go around and just try to level up and all that good stuff. But it looks like B-Side Games is eventually moving to Flow. So we've got B-Side Games will first focus solely on Steam, Android and iOS versions. However, the studio is a registered developer for PlayStation, Xbox, and they're also in negotiations with Nintendo. And it also says here that the game is running on the Flow blockchain, which should provide easy onboarding for users. So that's how this all ties in together. What do you make of this story?
I think it's awesome, man. The more like we can get like big games and into consoles, like the better. Like that is what is going to drive adoption, like really mass adoption, is gaming. I think like the quicker it happens, the better for everybody. Ernest said, I wish I could get auto insurance on Wax. Scott says, it's easy to get if you have an EOS account. And DJ Wisdom says, KuCoin, baby. I use KuCoin. You don't need KYC for it, which is nice. But their fees are expensive. So there's a give and take regardless of what you do there.
Yeah, 100%.
I think like as far as ChainMonsters, I think this is really cool, man. I think that like obviously, like I said, like it's going to be helpful to bring like adoption. It's just going to be whether or not it's a pleasant experience, right? Like hopefully, like something else that comes from the blockchain doesn't kick in. Like you start getting lag in games or something. I don't know. It's using flow, so hopefully you don't ever have to deal with that. But
yeah, it's interesting. It was like completely unplayable, but there was a game back in like 2017 when these NFT games first started to come out based on that CryptoKitties hype. It was called Ethermon, and I think it still kind of exists, but not in the same fashion. I don't know if you guys in the chat remember it, but it was like so unplayable. Like if it was all on blockchain, so like if you wanted to go from like adjacent. Like you could be on that portion of the map, but if you wanted to like say go to the next town, you had to do an Ethereum transaction. And like if you wanted to pick up an item, you had to do an Ethereum transaction. So
dude, that's rough. That's what I'm talking about with Zed, dude. It's like you go to Zed and you want to play, and it's like you can't even like race your horses because it's like 3 transactions to get into a damn race. And like with the gas the way it is, it's just not affordable. It's funny that you said Ethermon because I remember signing up for that, but I don't think I ever did anything with it.
Yeah. Well, probably because like it was really tough to do things with. I'm gonna point out here too, and this is kind of what you hear from most blockchain type games, or that's the way that they're gonna kind of market themselves in the future. There's no mention of blockchain. So no mention of blockchain on this Steam kind of advertisement here. It looks like the demo is obviously out, so you guys can go here and check it out. It looks like 2021 is the release date for the full game. So. Cool. That's kind of like the full story there as far as ChainMonsters is concerned, guys. We appreciate you guys kind of sticking with us till the end. I know it's a super slow week as far as NFT assets and sales and all that stuff, but we appreciate you guys sticking with us till the end. Ernest is saying, yeah, talk more about Zed. What's the latest news? Let's get your
Zed.
Let's get your inside take here.
So I still think Zed is like a super huge product. I think that like eventually it's going to be like really, really big. And I'm, not just saying that because I have a lot of money invested in it. But they were severely crippled by gas. And I think that it really affected them. Good thing is that they had this Zed, I don't even remember what they call it because it's been a minute since I've been in it, but they've got like a Zed free to play coin almost that is supposed to allow you to zest. That's what it's called. That will eventually, or now allows you to, because I think they just rolled it out like last week, now allows you to like also buy into like things like races and stuff. So we'll see how that plays out. The zest thing, you get zest. It's one of those, like you follow them on Twitter, you get some, you retweet, you get some. It's like a Twitch contest. It feels like almost.
Got it.
But beyond that, what's really cool about it is the fact that they are working with an online gambling website, right? So they will be bringing like legit like online gambling to the races. And then they also have plans for like a 24-hour Twitch channel. That will have like on staff casting. So like someone actually casting the races as they're taking place.
I don't know if this was like a big game where you're from. I don't know if this was like when I was living in Hawaii and I would go to Dave and Buster's. The main race that everyone would, or the main game that everyone would like huddle around is this horse racing game. Do you remember that game? Does anybody in the chat remember that game? It was like the horse race. You would like have this little card that you could bring back and like you would like feed it and train it, and then it would be a full race.
Sega Derby Owners Club.
Yes.
I played.
You played? Were you a big? I could see you like mashing.
Just sitting there mashing the whip button. Whip. Like, come on. And then like, dude, I had like so many. And then what was cool about that one is like you actually had like, it would print out this little cardboard like card almost that you would use, and it was your save and it was your actual horse. So like when you wanted to race a horse, you would put the card in the machine and you would pay, and you'd have to feed it. You'd have to like race it. You could breed them. there's a huge community around that game, dude. And I still to this day look it up every once in a while to see if like they're going to bring it back to like a console or something. They've had
Yeah.
people who have tried to emulate it, but it hasn't turned out well. So, but yeah, dude.
So is
I
that
used to
what
play that all the time.
is that what Zed's run is trying to essentially do?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what Zed run's trying to do.
This is the closest thing that I've been able to come to it. It feels exactly the same, except for it's a little bit cooler. And they've got really big plans for they have an AR app right now that you can like pull up your horses that you own. So I've done it. Like I have pictures of like my kids, like because my daughter rides. So like we went out to like the for one of her shows, and like so I've got pictures of my Zed horses in the field, like next to the horse stables with like my kids running out in front of them, right? But eventually, what they want to do is like you'll be able to pull up your phone, point it at the table, and watch the Zed run race live. Like watch your actual horse race across your table. And things like that. So they've got a lot of really cool plans. It's going to take time. It's one of those. It's going to be like the Delta, the F1 Delta. It'll be another year or two before you see the really cool stuff. But if you're even halfway interested, you're going to want to buy now because it's not cheap already.
I cannot wait to see the games that come out a cycle from now. We had Zach Gall from Liquid Apps, who's a good friend who we know from back in the day at ICO Alert, and he made a really good point about kind of the DeFi products now, and that they're kind of what he said was building on the shoulders of giants. In that the DeFi products, why they're so popular today and why they're able to iterate so fast is because the tech is there. Whereas in 2017 with ICOs, tech wasn't there. So it was a lot of roadmaps. It was a lot of this other stuff, which kind of reminds me of what's going on with NFTs right now. It's like a lot of like, maybe this looks pretty good in 6 months to a year. And, you know, but you start to see stuff come out on wax. You start to see kind of flow putting it together, because this game would be awesome. And I would play it in that same owners club type fashion, but I'm not playing it on Ethereum. There's no damn way.
It's
not
too expensive.
Too expensive. You're waiting 30 seconds for a transaction. No.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, right now too, like it's just not there, like because they can't do it. It doesn't make sense for them on their side. Like they can't. So before like the gas prices went through the roof, it was worth making a race, right? So like you could pay, 0.1 ETH, right, and like buy into a race, and then if you got first place, you could make some decent money. But like you pay 0.1 ETH, you're paying 0.03. Like it's just by the time you actually win a race, you're actually not. You're paying them to race in their game. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's definitely broken thanks to gas.
So what are the mechanics like? Is it like, say this works perfectly, like say there's no gas involved at all? Like how do they determine who races who? Because as someone who's completely new, am I gonna like and when I put up 0.1 ETH, are they just like completely just digging in my pocket and it's gonna be like that until my horse gets better? What's the situation for kind of like gaming the races and stuff like that?
Yeah, so it's one of those situations where it's like, they have classes essentially. Mm-hmm. They've got classes and they're broken down by like breed types and rarity and all that type of thing. And it's in the genes is what they'll tell you, right? Yeah. So like you can breed them and you can actually have like a winning like racehorse line. You know what I mean? So it's all in the programming and how to handle that.
Gotcha. All right, guys. Well, it looks like Ronan's going to have his hands full for the rest of the day there. But this was a great episode, guys. We appreciate you kind of sticking with us till the end. I think we had some more comments kind of come through as far as Ron is concerned.
Ernest mentioned he's super excited about it. It's not cheap, but he is thinking about getting a horse soon. It's a good time. You don't want to wait too much longer because the longer you wait, just these things just get more and more expensive.
Yeah, I want to give a quick shout out to Crypto Buffalo, who's going to kind of come on. He's a lad currently, but he's looking to come on and kind of help build out Layer 1. NFTLive is certainly going to be one of these things that continues to grow relatively quickly. You'll see some updates kind of coming from the channel. We'll be breaking out. I don't know if do we want to drop this live on the channel right now? It looks like... Go ahead.
Yeah. As good a time as any.
Yeah, so we'll be launching NFTLive as its own Twitter profile. We have plans in the future of kind of breaking out a YouTube channel for NFTLive and things like that. There will always be episodes of NFTLive on Layer 1, but this is kind of the first step in breaking out content under that umbrella that is Layer 1. So NFTLive is going to be huge. We cannot wait to bring you guys more content. You guys have been awesome, man. These episodes are better when you guys contribute. Like that, it's basically that. So Please do what you can. Everybody that was in here today is going to get 50 lads. You'll get more updates there. And the last lad update, as far as that's concerned, I know I've been saying this for a goddamn week, but we're dropping the token art bounty today. Eventually, maybe we can have an NFT token that is lads, maybe a 1 of 10 edition, or maybe we give it to whenever you get 10,000 lads, you get an NFT token that is a lads token. But we are launching this Lads token art bounty so that when people see Lads token for the first time, they'll be able to see whatever art that is kind of made by the community. So we're going to have this contest. If we get anybody that kind of not donates, but kind of submits a piece of art that they think would look good for like the Lads token, you may be chosen, and this might be the actual art that we show as far as Lads is concerned. So that article is rolling out on our Substack today. I'm making it happen, and yeah, that's basically what we got going on. You got anything else, Ronin, before we hop off?
I mean, super excited for NFTLive, super excited for what we've got going on. Crypto Buffalo, who's coming on, going to help with some production. Super cool guy. He's got a lot of energy. He really appreciates the NFT space and knows what's going down. You know what I mean? So I think that we're going to continue to bring really good content and really good information, and it's just going to continue to grow. I think that we've got a really cool community growing. Thank you to everyone who dropped in: Scott, DJ, Ernest, Kieran, as always, Dimitri. Thank you guys so much for dropping in. Brandon, Cryptophagia, everyone who dropped in. It means a lot to us, obviously, and we're just appreciate the support.
100%, man. Ernest is asking where he can get that wallet for lads. Go to tryroll.com. Hop into our Telegram, Ernest, if you're not already, because that's basically what we have as far as the community hub is concerned. We've rolled out our Discord. Kieran's in the Discord now. He's got that lads access based on how many tokens he's earned. We have a bunch of different updates coming out, but yeah, tryroll.com. Get into our Telegram. Get the admin as your username that you created, and then you'll get the distribution once you get that username. And if you contribute like you did today, we'll get you some lads in that situation. So yeah, ton of stuff going on within Layer 1, guys, and NFTLive is obviously, like Ronin said, it's growing very quickly, and we can't wait to bring you more. So 100%, guys.
All right, thank you guys so much, man.